Hey everyone, I'm Cody Knotts King and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about these two pieces behind me. One is from earlier in this year, around probably February or so. I think due to the colors that I used during that time because of Easter and spring. I don't think it's signed on the back, to be honest. Yeah. But this one and then this vase painting, which I started working on probably a little over a month ago. Typically, I start working on pieces and it just kind of, they stop and then they start again. Either way. But today I'm going to be talking about the differences between my past work and my present work. And I guess kind of what that means to me now. So let me get the old one out of the way first and start talking about that. So in my older work, which is really kind of a present theme in all my older work, is this expressionism and fluency and, just going with what the materials want me to do or what I feel like they should do as they're going through the process of the brush or the pen or whatever I'm using tool-wise. And then, moreover, there's just a lot going on. And I guess that's also a resemblance of like how my mind was before. There was a lot more things going on inside my head because I had a lot to think about being outside of college and just trying to figure out like what I'm supposed to be doing, which is what this YouTube channel is. So another thing with that is they're really active and dynamic. There's like lines going horizontal, and then there's some vertical objects and other things, and then the flowers are just kind of like all over the place. They're not really straight up and down. They kind of don't seem like they're supposed to be in the vase or they're in the vase. It's more of like kind of like a dimensional speaking thing. Like, I'm not sure if that's kind of a theme for all of my work, older work, but like for this one especially, it's kind of like the fourth dimension kind of concept where like there's no such thing as like space, time, stuff like that. I guess that's kind of like how you would describe that. But like each thing is like a different plane and a different thing going on, and you could probably see it if you turned it into like 3 dimensions, it'd be like there's a layer here, but you can't see this layer, but it's back farther, and it kind of just messes with how space works and how like object relationships. So like I'm sitting here in my greenhouse, and like you can see that next to me is my plants, but there's a relationship between the distance between me and that plant there. It may only be a foot, but in the video or painting perception, it's hard to tell that unless you use like shading and stuff like that, which obviously isn't present in this piece. I tried to stay, even back then, to simple color and forms, even if it was just expression, me experimenting and trying to figure out what to do with my style and where to take it to. I kind of label it as like pure abstraction of thought, more or less. It's kind of like images pop into my head and then I paint them. And then, like I said, it's a combination of many ideas, but like they're kind of flat. The paintings are flat, but like they have dimension to them. And then it's like a I guess you could say it's like removing reality. Like reality's there, but it's really not. Like there's things you can identify, like there's a person, a black silhouette in the background, but it's not really, anyone you should know or anything like that. You probably can't see from over there. But like there's a person here, but it's kind of like hard to understand. Like there's the head and everything, a neck, abstracted hand, and comes down and fades over. Like everything overlaps. And I'm not sure if that's the common thing for me, but some of my abstracts, they're really complex and they overlap everything. But everything has their own place. It's not like I just placed it there and was like, yup, that's good. I thought about, like, before putting it down, I thought about all, like, what the colors mean and, like, how, like, the colors related to each other, like, space-wise. Like, I couldn't put this yellow thing right next to these yellow flowers. Like, it wouldn't work. So I separated it with some blue, darker blue, white, and gray. So there's a balance of tone ratio. If I think that's right. It might not be right. But then I, like, also thought about how like this object here translate across the canvas where it goes up, and then you see this over and down, and sometimes maybe you might see it from here and then spread down and over. It also reminds me of like a circuit board, but that's kind of like older styled stuff. I kind of go a little crazy. I still do stuff like that sometimes, but I've kind of like refrained myself from using like my materials in that way, just so I can like save stuff, so I can actually like put work out like this one, which is now what I'm gonna get into, like my newer stuff. So like, it actually makes you really excited because my newer stuff is so like simple, and it reminds me of like the style, and it's not plaque and steel. It's like an old style. I can't remember the time period. I'm so sorry. It's like 19 something, but it's like everything's so like focused and centered. There's not really like room to question what it is, because you can obviously tell like it's a vase, but like I guess you could argue like it's still the abstracted quality, like it's not a real vase, it's not three-dimensional, but it still has that characteristic of there's a space there. It just, you can't enter that space. Like the space exists, but it hadn't exist before I painted it. Like it's an existing thing, like a vase exists, but this didn't exist until I painted it. So it's kind of like a niche in time, where like it's like an in-between thing. Like you can see it, but you can't be in it. Like how like some people in like some of the movies where the people jump into the paintings and they become a part of the painting. It's kind of like that kind of thing, but like it's in its own world. Like you can't enter this. It's like a window. And I feel like that's a lot of my newer work, is like this idea of a window. Like you're looking through to something else that we can't, touch. But like, I mean, you could touch painting, but you shouldn't touch paintings. But you can't like reach through it and become a part of it and pull that vase out. It's not real in our world until the painting is real, that's what kind of what this kind of stuff is. That's a lot of jibber jabber. I'm sorry, but a lot of my work that I do this way, I try to keep it like, I'll go from sketch first. When opposed with these, I didn't have a sketch for that. I just did it. I just kind of like, boom, did it. Best explanation. But like these ones, they come from sketchbooks of like me constantly drawing and drawing and drawing, because there's never a time when I don't have a sketchbook or notebook. Never a time. And I keep this out here too. So there's never a time when I don't have a sketchbook drawing, and ideas come to me, especially like things like this. They're so simple that like when you close your eyes, you see something in your eyes sometimes, like shapes and stuff. Sometimes I see like these types of paintings, and that's how I get some of my ideas. I'm like, ooh, that's a really good idea. Let me like go draw that really fast. And it might just be like a little ugly sketch, and I'll come back to it later and like redraw it, and then it'll turn into something like that. Also, a comparison between these two, like directly, you can obviously see in this one that there's kind of like a square grid going on, but with this one, it feels like it's kind of like curved and swaying, like you're kind of like how you would like slide down a slide almost. Like that's like how it makes me feel. So in some of my newer paintings, I try to keep them like really, really balanced, so it looks like they're supposed to be, like every placement. Like the painting that I posted on here before before this video, that painting is kind of like what I'm talking about, like balancing shapes on top of each other, where like this is like balancing it in an environment. So I'm balancing like the floor, and minus the floor is not straight. The floor kind of like bellows with it, so it actually makes it look like it's kind of like sliding into the floor. Like it's kind of like quicksand. Like you're just whoosh, like going down, but like it's not going anywhere. It's just like still and present. I guess it kind of also looks like a fish now that I look at it, but it's not a fish. It's a vase, and the painting that's on top of it, the design on top of it, is considered, well, in my mind, it's considered a cell, which is like, this is like the nucleus, which is the beginning of the cell, and this is the transformation and growth of the cell. So the symbol to me is like a symbol of growth, and I usually use that on like all my work. Like this, it's over here too, and like the more rings that are around it are considered more growth. But moreover, the present idea of this video is to give everyone an idea of like who I am and like why I create the way I do, and like how the change of like kind of like how the change of time like changes me as an artist, and how I feel about looking back on things, and how looking back on things relates to some of my newer work. Because I do look back at some of my older work and I'll take an idea from it and I'll pull it and I'll do just that single idea. Like this painting right here, there's so many things going on in it that like if I pull out like one part of this, like if I pull out this vase right here with the flowers in it and repaint that again, I could turn that into another painting. Because it's a combination of like 5 ideas in one painting that I just overlapped. Which is like kind of like I kind of used painting when I was, earlier in this year as sketching. And not many painters paint that way. But then I kind of like changed my style from sketching to painting, if that makes sense in comparison. I'm making a lot of hand gestures, I'm sorry. Well, if you remember anything from this video, let me just say that if you remember anything, this is the one thing you remember. That the thing that drives me the most when I create is the change that happens between this and that. From me growing from one thing to the next thing. It may not seem like a big thing, but it's like it's stepping stones to where I want to be. And this is way closer than I ever thought I'd ever want to be. But like at the same time, when I was younger, I hated this work. I despised it. And then I went to like MoMA, I went to art school, and then I started becoming like this modern artist. And I don't understand where it came from. But I'm very thankful that it's gotten to this point. So if you remember anything, it's that change can change anything, if that makes sense. Change is a driving force in my art. I may not, this art right here may not, even this current one, it may not define who I am tomorrow, or, in a year from now, or a month from now, or, 15 minutes from now. I could change completely into something else. It's just the fact that I'm growing with every change I make. And if you take the time to change, and if you take the time to like think about what you're doing and look back and write about things and take notes about what you do, you can change anything you want to change. So maybe this wasn't supposed to be an inspirational video. I guess it is now. But I'm Cody Knotts King, and thank you for watching this video about me comparing my old work to my new work. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you don't like this video, just comment below. Don't be, you know what I'm talking about. Just comment something. If you want me to change something or do something better, like, tell me. Like, I'm trying to do new things. I'm trying to figure out, like, what I should do for more videos, and, like, what people actually want to see of me, and what would improve my presence on YouTube. So if you have any, questions or comments for me, please feel free to, like, put them down, or go over to my Instagram at KnottsOfficial_artwork, and then follow me there and see my work there. And you can also direct message me over that too. And if you're interested about some of the things I sell, I also have the Society 6 account, which is Cody Knotts King. You can just also go over there and follow that. So, thank you for watching this video. I know again that this is probably all over the place and very confusing, but I'm sorry and I'm trying to get better. But thank you for watching this video.